Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, very good morning. It is my distinct honor and pleasure to be with all of you today, sharing my experiences and my thoughts. Before I proceed, allow me to express my profound thanks to the Academy of Cultural Diplomacy for inviting me to this very important forum and all the co-hosts. I also thank Norma for your kind introductions. So let me make very brief introduction of international cooperation mechanisms, as Norma mentioned earlier, that I've involved in the past 8 years before I'm posted here. I was a senior official, we called it a SOM leader, of the Mekong Cooperation Mechanism and the BIMSTEC. Mekong actually is the name of a river of our region. In our case, Mekong represents a group of 5 countries, Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, Thailand, and Vietnam. The countries Mekong rivers flows through. BIMSTEC is a cooperation mechanism of Sri Lanka, India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar, and Thailand. I also was a chief negotiator for formulating BIMSTEC Charter. We, regional countries, has been cooperating with development partner countries through different cooperation mechanisms. As Norma mentioned earlier, we have a Mekong-United States partnership cooperating with United States. We have Mekong Lan-Chang cooperation with China. We have Mekong-Japan cooperation with Japan. We have Mekong ROK with ROK, and Mekong Ganga cooperation with India, and ASEM, Asia-Europe Meeting Cooperation Mechanisms, which is cooperating with Asia and Europe. And among ourselves, in the cooperation mechanisms like ECMEC and BIMSTEC. The main intention of cooperating with the development partner countries are the maintenance and promotion of peace and regional sustainable development. So let me go into the main theme. My presentation will be entirely based on my experiences and may have some discrepancies with academic theories. So I would say the element of culture in diplomacy is indeed very simple, very delicate, and no boundaries at all. I believe that that is one of the key contributing factors of successful diplomacy. But most of the time, we diplomats have little attention on it and prefer to play with 3 powers. 3 powers mean political, economic, and military. So in this sense, the first thing here we need to do is to understand what is culture. In the perspective of international cooperation, I would say culture doesn't limit matters related to arts. It also meant the way of thinking, perception, customs, traditions, practices of a country or a group of countries or a region or even organization. In the context of promoting international cooperation, we have 2 parts to look at. The first part is cultural diplomacy, and the second part is the element of culture in diplomacy. Those are quite similar. For me, those are quite different. Cultural diplomacy, which is, I would say, the use of culture as a tool to promote 2 areas. The first area is to promote image of interest of a particular country or a subject. Okay, for example, whenever you see or you heard the Blackpink, Lisa, Oppa Gangnam Style, K-pop, what we see in our mind is the country Korea, a lovely country full of beauty and prosperity. I have another example. Based on my experience in Geneva, whenever you walk into the car park of United Nations, you can see that the large majority of the cars parked there are Mercedes. So the reason is most of the ambassadors use Mercedes as the flag car, the #1 car. For with development, we always regard Mercedes as the ambassador's car. That is the tacit rules. There is no written rule to use ambassador only for Mercedes. Because Germany perfectly promoted the culture of Mercedes as high social class, high quality, it became the culture of our diplomatic community. Whenever we see the Mercedes or Audi or BMW, it automatically tells us about Germany, the top-notch technological hub of our world. That is what exactly cultural diplomacy is playing in international area. The second area promoted by the cultural diplomacy is people-to-people contact or people-to-people understanding, which is very important for any type of international corporations. A quick example. So when I enter this building this morning, I'm honestly quite nervous and scared because I know nobody in this building. So I also have so many questions in my mind. So how do they receive me, or do they like me, so and so forth, so many questions. As always, I'm nervous. But I received the first handshake with Dr. Ramsey and Robin and Mark. So I regained my confidence back because that handshake gave me the understanding that the organization is truly welcoming me. At the same time, the organizations may understand my willingness to be the keynote speaker of this particular event. You may notice at first my hands are freezing cold. Now I'm warm, okay. So the handshake is simply a greeting. It connects two parts. At the same time, it exchanges the messages and builds mutual understanding, maybe leading to the mutual confidence. So what is handshake? Handshake is a culture of Western country. The culture of shaking hand has been promoted in our Asia part of the world over many centuries ago, and giving us an opportunity to connect people from the Western hemispheres by understanding of Western cultures. We have culture that can apply purposely in the context of diplomacy, cooperation. We have so many ways and means to promote international cooperation based on cultural elements. So let's say convening international K-pop competitions, allowing youths from all to participate. So music without borders. Music is powerful enough to penetrate every heart of the people. What would be the expected outcome from such competition in the perspective of international cooperation? I'm sure our younger generation will be able to make friendship, networking, exchange of ideas, exchange of thoughts, sharing experience. The most valuable thing is mutual understanding among our young generation. So what is next beyond mutual understanding of our young generation, among young generation? I can confidently say peace in the first place and prosperity in the second. Because the more we have higher level of mutual understanding on each other, the less we have chance to conflict. So based on that, we can do a lot of businesses, including international cooperation. On all, I would say mutual understanding and mutual confidence are the cardinal rules of international cooperations. I have reason to say that the majority of the work of international cooperation has been occupied by the process of negotiations. I'm very much confident to say that international cooperation cannot be done without negotiation. As we all aware, negotiation is the most difficult and delicate job for everybody, even more difficult for the diplomats, even more difficult with the parties with different set of priorities and interests. In many cases, we found ourselves in the cloud of the interest of conflict or in the deadlock. If the parties keep presenting what they want to do without any having the flexibilities. So, do you know what we do to avoid such situation or to lessen such situation? In our culture of international cooperation, especially in the Mekong cooperation mechanisms and BIMSTEC, as I mentioned earlier, we always have welcoming reception at the evening. All delegations arrive to town for meeting. We, the leaders of delegations, as well as the chief negotiators, we drink together, we have the dinner together, sometimes we sing and dance together with food relax. In the technical standpoint, such welcoming reception provides an enabling environment to establish friendship or enhancement of friendship and even achieve some degree of trust and confidence if the situation favors. At a certain point during the reception, we could start to discuss the matters which potentially to be very difficult to reach the agreement in tomorrow's meeting. Like, hey, my friend, what makes you very difficult to agree on this matter at this agenda? If somebody asks me, I would say, sorry, my friend, frankly, my difficulties on my side is mainly due to the financial constraint or technical constraint, so on and so forth. So we have the conversations. So the point is, we have more frank and candid discussion at the reception rather than in the meeting, because we are discussing the matters informally at personal capacity because we are at the reception. So as a result, we have achieved certain degree of mutual understanding with regard to the difficulties before we officially discuss the matter at the tomorrow's meeting. That makes a lot of sense and make negotiation easier. So that is the reason why the culture of the welcoming reception in international cooperation mechanisms has been purposely created by our senior diplomats in order to promote international cooperation. Okay, another point I wish to highlight here is the traditional culture of international cooperation. After my return from Geneva, I was in charge of ASEM, the ASEM I mentioned earlier, ASEM Asia-Europe meeting, which is a cooperation mechanism between Asia and Europe with the member of 52 countries, 3 European countries, 30 European countries, 27 EU countries plus Norway, Switzerland, and UK, 10 ASEAN countries, and 11 NISA countries. NISA means Northeast and South Asian countries. So very big cooperation mechanisms with a very large number of members. So I always remember the tremendous difficulties during the negotiation and formulation of ASEM's definition on connectivity, while Myanmar was a chair of ASEM in 2017. I formulated the zero draft of the definition and submitted to all member states. At the senior official meeting, we led member states to discuss the draft in their respective regional groups. ASEM has 3 official groups for effective negotiation, a European group, ASEAN group, and NISA group. The negotiations at each group went very well and able to produce their own version of the definition. However, at the final negotiation between 3 groups, which has been very difficult due to their different approach based on their background culture. if I remember correctly, the definition proposed by EU group was very strict based on the technical facts. On the other hand, the definition put forward by ASEAN group provides great flexibility with option for their own interpretation. We Asians prefer flexibility because we respect each other's decision based on their own needs. Culturally, we are very hesitant to restrict other countries with one-size-fits-all approach. For EU, I'm sure they respect the sovereignties of the member state, but no variation was allowed in draft. So it is obvious that the most people from Western countries are traditionally more technical and give priority to rules and laws. In contrast, we Asians more value on friendship and respect than rules. By the understanding of difference between the groups, we have no choice to apply and chair's prerogative and make the definition sit in the middle. So I just presented 3 things: the handshake, the personal culture, welcoming reception, which is organizational culture, and the traditional culture. Honestly, those are just tip of the iceberg of cultural elements that plays very important role in promoting international cooperations. So, yes, all the things I just presented are about cultural elements and international cooperation. How about peace? I would like to say confidently that peace is a bonus if we are able to make international cooperation effectively. So as I mentioned earlier, international cooperation cannot be done without the negotiations. If you are able to make your international cooperation mechanisms doing very well, it could be translated as there is successful negotiation and the mechanisms. All the member states have higher value of mutual understanding, and there is a common interest and shared benefit for all member states. These situations, I believe, create favorable environment for maintenance and promotion of peace. As I said earlier, so long as we have perfect mutual understanding on each other, there will be no chance of conflict. So, in summing up, I presented about the effect of culture in promotion of international cooperation and its attributes to peace. Culture is indeed a multi-purpose tool for diplomacy, a soft power, and for international cooperation. I hope my presentation will contribute promotion of international cooperation and peace. I'll stop here. I'll have to answer the questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the Minister? Thank you. Would you mind stating your name? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, and Your Excellency. I thank you for the most insightful presentation you have given.
Thank you.
I actually take it as a privilege to be in this forum, and my name is Tangai. I am a member of the diaspora community. My heritage is of Zimbabwean nativity.
Yes.
And we have got a long, close cooperation with your nation and your state.
Yeah.
My question today is, I've gathered actually from your advanced cultural diplomacy methods aspect of it, and raising the question of international understanding that promotes cooperation. How is the methods, or how are the methods you are presenting very well embedded in the current international statecraft of our protocol? And are there any gaps that have not yet been integrated within the international protocol rules, given that as a global community, we subscribe to the same sort of common norms and practices in enhancing cooperation? Obviously learning from what happened in London way back in the 17th, 16th century, where protocol there was a diplomatic gaffe.
Yep.
Thank you very much. That's my question. So in short, how integrated and how are you proposing how can the delegates here learn from the advanced methods within international rules or universalized norms?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Sorry, I'll answer the question first, or wait for another question. Okay. For the sake of time, I'll answer the question first. So thank you very much for that questions. That question is indeed a very big questions. So, and you know, in the international diplomacies, cultural elements always play, as I mentioned in my statement. So I'm not sure about other sectors in business or other negotiations. But as for the diplomat, understanding of the culture, as I mentioned earlier, personal, organization, and cultural, traditional culture is very important. Okay, for example, if while I was in Bangkok, and there's the conflict between red shirt people and the yellow shirt people. So there's a two group of people. There's a political conflict in Thailand. At the time, we have to understand, we have to choose the color of our outfit whenever you go to the official fashion. We avoid both red or yellow. So this is some kind of culture. In Thailand, you may see yellow represent the monarchy, and the red represents some kind of the opposition group. So this diplomat has to has to have the situation awareness on such kind of cultural difference. So whenever you have to negotiate some things, the person you have to negotiate is pro-yellow, and you wear the red necktie. That is not a good situation for the negotiation. So that's why we are promoting cultural diplomacies. Another point is, if you go to the Asia part of the world, whenever you go into the temple or shrine, we have to take off our shoes. So that is you have to understand. Sometimes the Westerners come and enter the temple with the shoes. That is very rude. So at the same time, whenever I said earlier, in the western part of the world, whenever you meet the people, you have to meet the people or with the new friends, you first we have to make that handshake. That meaning that you are opening for to be a friendship of them. So the most difficult thing for the diplomat, the most difficult thing for negotiation is to understand the cultural diplomacy. That is very, very difficult. As I mentioned earlier, even the diplomats forget about to notice the cultural differences. That's why most of the negotiations cannot produce intended result. So maybe you may understand what I mean. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, if you allow me, of course, to ask a question.
Thank you.
Can you hear me? Okay. Now, it's very important, of course, as I said, you welcome always, you welcome to my house, to the countries, to wherever as we are. What I have, of course, I'm speaking at the moment as a director of the Justice for Rohingya UK International. I'm one of the, I've got several, I've been in several different hats. And we brought, of course, with all respect, of course, I want to see where we can get it. We brought a case of the genocide to the government, and I was one of the key members which should bring it and accepted the Burma done genocide against the Rohingya people. We try to, so many times, several organizations we are, several times we are trying to bring peace between them. Between the Buddhist, peaceful Buddhist, and peaceful Muslims. And the culture is almost the same, of course, they're both peaceful. But I can see a couple of days ago, a few days ago, they send me several dreadful, horrible picture of the 300 people get killed by the river. The people are not in the camp, in the Cox's Bazar, or so on, so on. So How we can stop these killings? We are brothers and sisters in humanity. There is no doubt about it. How we can stop these ones, which we don't go against each other?
Yes.
And this is important. Please, have you got any opinion? Anything which will stop even if one person to get killed? That's we done our job. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much for such questions. I will answer in my capacity and personal capacities. So, as you are right, we are the people. We all love peace. We love peace more in recent days in Myanmar. All the people of Myanmar. So you may aware we have a certain degree of civil war in Myanmar. So we understand what is peace. So with regard to the people, the Rohingya people, you imagine we ourselves call the Bengali people. So there's a kind of terminology that is not problem. So the first point I wish to point out is if you go to the Yangon, some of you may visit Yangon, you may see at the center of Yangon, you may see three distinct things at the middle of Yangon city. There's a big church. There's a big church. On the side, in front of the church, there is a Buddhist pagoda. Just in front of the Buddhist pagoda, there's a very big mosque. So that three things symbolize how peacefully our peoples live together between different religions. We are very peaceful. That's what has been happening in Myanmar until today. So in Rakhine State, it is different. So in the Rakhine State, so I understand that the situation because part of my childhood was in Rakhine State. I fully understand the communal clash between the Rakhine people and those Rohingya people or the Bengali people. So at the time, they have a certain kind of conflict between two communities, but not that much like that day. So in 2017, around 2017, there has a communal conflict between Rakhine people and the Muslim peoples. The start of the conflict was the Muslim peoples, they maybe accidentally raped the Rakhine girls, and that sparks the conflict. They killed each other at the time, and the conflict expanded to across the northern part of Rakhine State. And that is the communal conflict. And later on, what happened is the misinformation and the disinformations, because we Myanmar government very honestly very weak in the media relations. So at the same time, the effect of misinformation and disinformation, what UK is encountering with the Southport murder of the girls, so exactly the same. That's leading to the something or genocide or ICJ leading to. But if you make analysis detail, there will be no almost no evidence. So that is in the past. In recent days, we have the situation, security problems across the country, and Rakhine people became, they have the insurgent group called AA, Arakan Army, as you mentioned earlier. Before they don't have. So before they don't have, if happen communal conflict, the two communities fight each other with stick or knife or something. But suddenly, Rakhine people have the automatic rifle and grenades, so on and so forth. Based on the communal conflict in the past, they have certain kind of very set conflict, as you mentioned earlier. So honestly, in that part of Rakhine, in northern Rakhine, the security forces and able to make law enforcement or operation there. So the first answer to your question is we must build peace in Myanmar first. Without peace, we have thousands of people in the refugee camp in the Bangladesh. Bangladesh government and Myanmar government has been negotiating for the repatriations. So at the time, the situation problems, the security problems happen. So that makes that kind of bad things in those people. So the first thing we have to do is we have to build peace by all means in Myanmar first, and we have to address such. We can address peacefully on that problem. That is not a problem. Times will speak. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Sorry, has your question been answered, sir? Has your question been answered? Okay, thank you. Can we, sorry, I do have to be respectful of time. We have quite a few speakers, and Minister Tun, you will be available to speak to people on a one-to-one basis later today. You're not rushing away, are you?
Yeah, I have an appointment after
Okay,
lunch.
well,
So-
yeah, very, very short. Very short. Okay, so one more question. Yeah.
Your Excellency, my name is Jihan from Morocco, Jihan Ahmed Bey. I am specialist of administration and economy in my country. My question will be, Your Excellency, you said that cultural diplomacy means understanding each other. So it means there is a different things to God. So don't you think that more differences we got, less understanding we have?
Yes.
So how can advanced cultural diplomacy methods contribute to cultural understanding or to eliminate differences? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. First thing, very, very quick. You know K-pop? You know K-pop? Korea songs, K-pop, Korea dramas, you know. So I once been to Korea, but I understand most of the Korean culture. So how they eat, how they speak, how they treat each people through the media. So I like Lisa. So she's a very pretty girl from the Blackpink group. So I like Oppa Gangnam Style, you know. So that makes me understand the Korean culture and why I negotiate with the Koreans and the Mekong ROK corporations. First time I met with the Korean diplomat, I said, "안녕하세요." So, whenever you say, and when I said in your language, you will please bring you whatever flexibilities or understanding of each other. That's why I stress here is try to understand. Sometimes very difficult. Sometimes if it is the countries far away from you, it is very difficult. But please try to understand the culture. Okay? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Engage in a hearty round of applause for Minister Tun. Thank you. Thank you very much.